sharing today about facing disappointment, and this comes from a very personal and vulnerable place for me, because even this week I got hit with a no from a company that I have been talking back and forth with concerning the future for my music artistry journey. I'll say it like that. We have been corresponding back and forth for about 2.5 months, and it had looked really good. Like, I felt that had the decision been a yes, my life would have changed forever. I had been praying, been seeking the Lord, asking him, was this the right move for me? And I had been having dreams and all kind of things, talking to family, close friends, spiritual parents, everyone praying for me, praying for this situation to basically have a different turnout than the one I got. And y'all, it just wasn't. And when I got the news this week, after a couple of months of going back and forth, I was just heartbroken, like sad and disheartened and let down, and very much faced with feeling like a failure and a disappointment. When I tried to break it down or analyze why those feelings were, so heavy upon me when I got that no, is I realized that I felt the temptation to feel like a failure and to feel less than, because it reminded me of all of the insecurities and all of the times that I felt that way before. When I was talking to my friends and my family, they were, really encouraging me to continue to pray and seek God and go back to the drawing board. And I couldn't at that moment bring myself to that. And I hate even saying that, because like, God, you're my everything. I love you. You're my everything. Like, I love you. You're my everything. And I'm like, the fact that I don't want to talk to you, like, what is that? What is that about? Like, what is that about? And I begin to dig a little deeper in that, and I realized that the reason why I didn't want to go to him in prayer is because I felt like he had let me down and he didn't hold up to his end of the bargain, quote unquote. And that's very harsh. That's very harsh of me. A very harsh way to come to the Lord, because I know that he never leaves us nor forsake us. I know that he will provide all that we need, that he would give us the desires of our hearts, that the good work that he has begun in you, he will finish it out to completion. Like, I just couldn't hear it, because I was so sad and I was so let down and ultimately disappointed. When I face disappointment in my life, especially when it's been times that I feel like I did everything I was supposed to do. Like, I saw God, I prayed, fasted, the whole 9 yards, spoke it every day, claimed it, believed it, so I could receive it, the whole 9 yards. And when I would get an answer that wasn't in favor of what I wanted, I would get upset and angry with God. And it pains me to say that, because I never want to think of God as someone who lets us down, because that's just not his character. He promises to never leave us nor forsake us, and he promises to always be there to supply every need, to give us the desires of our heart, all those things. Now I recognize and I realize that that's not the correct attitude to have. But in my sadness and in my disappointment, that was the first emotion, the first response that came to me. I was faced with the temptation of feeling like a failure and feeling like I wasn't good enough, and the feelings of all the insecurities that I've once felt concerning, my gift, music, singing, recording, writing songs. I felt it, come try to rush up at once and all come like falling down and crashing down on me at once, all of those feelings. And I couldn't hold back my tears. I couldn't pray. I could barely talk about it without crying. But then, as y'all know, I'm always listening to somebody's podcast or watching somebody's sermon. They basically said, in life, sometimes when we're facing disappointment, we can do a couple of things, or let down, we can do a couple of things. We can say, I guess this isn't for me. Give up, turn away, never to return again. Faced with the same type of situation again later in life, we could pass it off to someone we think does have a gift and can do well and can succeed. Or we can realize that God allowed us to face disappointment or what seems as failure because He's summoning us to Himself to go to the resting place and go back to the drawing board, to go to Him essentially and see what happened. I can imagine so many times and read so many times that Jesus probably felt disappointed or let down or overlooked in His hometown. They overlooked Him and was like, aren't you so-and-so's son? Aren't you the son of a carpenter? Like, didn't we see you grow up? Didn't we see you playing with our kids? Like, what makes you special? And I could just imagine how that could have been a letdown, because here you've witnessed the wondrous acts, but still you don't believe. And this is what I want to encourage you with. You have to remember who you are, whose you are, and always be in a place where you're teachable and you're coachable. He can open doors for you that no man can close or shut. And I have to remind myself about that. It doesn't always have to be you weren't good enough, that's why you gotta know. But sometimes it's not right now. People say it all the time that delay does not mean denial. So maybe it could have been a no for just then. Some of the most successful people have been the ones that have felt as if they were failures more times than not. They've taken the risk and they've been told no more times than yes. But it's that character that is being built when you're able to come away from a situation like that and still press on and do what you need to do. I guess I don't have no concrete answer, but I will say that when facing disappointment or letdown, you realize that character is being built in you to sustain and maintain where God has called you and what you're supposed to do, that level of influence, that platform, to sustain it, because the character has been built in you, to where God's just summoning you. He's calling you to Himself. He's drawing you to come to Him and to go into the secret, in the resting place, and inquire of Him, to seek His heart and His mind concerning the things He has for you, so that you can line up your steps with His. I guess my last thing I would say is, whether people tell you no or yes, it doesn't define you. It doesn't define your gifts. It doesn't define your talent. It doesn't define your purpose. Because whether they say no or yes, are you still called? Yeah. Are you still a child of God? Yeah. Are you still wonderfully, beautifully, and fearfully made in the image of God, just as you are now? Yeah. It doesn't define you. And when we hear those no's, and when we're disappointed, or when we feel like failures, we have an opportunity to keep pressing, to keep pushing, to not stop, and to really see our dreams come true. So that's all I got. So guys, thanks for joining me. I just wanted to come on here and share the story that I've gone through, and just what I've learned even this week with facing disappointment and being faced with the feeling of being a failure. As I say in each of my videos, please comment below if you are struggling or ways you've overcome. I would love to pray for you, and I would ask for your prayers too, because it's not easy to hear no. It's not easy for someone to say not right now, but I believe that in the midst of it all, when you look back, you're gonna realize that I probably needed that no right then and there. I probably needed to push pause and think about what it meant so that I could keep going. Because you gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. But anyway, so please comment that. And if you haven't liked this video, please like it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. And please share. Please share. As I've been praying about, sharing this topic, I believe that, and I just pray that something said, moved, touched, and inspired you in a amazing way. Guys, remember to always be real, be authentic, be yourself, be kind. I love you guys. Until next time, bye.